Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Grace promises her daughter Paris and erases Liam's medical history. According to the bold and the beautiful recap for Monday, August 4th, Grace Buckingham promised her daughter Paris Buckingham over the phone and erased Liam Spencer's medical history. John Finnegan visited Liam at the Spencer mansion to see how he was doing and to warn him about the potential problems from the procedure. Finn was skeptical since Grace hadn't mentioned to Liam that he would require physical therapy. Naturally, when Bill Spencer acknowledged that he had spent $1 million on the treatment, Finn's suspicions were confirmed. Reese Buckingham, Grace's ex-husband, was also mentioned. He had stolen Beth Spencer due to his gambling debts. Throughout the entire talk, Finn's wheels were undoubtedly churning. Grace spoke with the person in charge over the phone at the hospital and told them not to ever again harass her or her girls. Because of the stress she's been under, Grace also snapped at a nurse before saying she was sorry. In an attempt to hide her identity, Grace deleted Liam's medical information in a single instant. During a subsequent phone conversation, Grace pledged that she would do everything in her power to support Paris and her sister, Zoe Buckingham. Grace was so shaken by the perceived threat she had been facing that it seemed like she wanted to hear Paris' voice. Finn opened Liam's file on his laptop after returning to work on Monday's B&B episode. After Liam's brain bleed, Finn discovered that all of his medical records had been erased. Finn quickly made his way to Grace's office, mentioning that he had just returned from seeing how Liam was doing. Before asking Grace what was happening, Finn brought up the surgery's $1 million price tag. As Finn maintained he needed answers now, Grace became anxious. Ridge Forrester apologized to Brooke Logan in Italy for his rude behavior following her appointment as CEO during the takeover. Before pondering what Ridge truly meant to tell her, Brooke inquired as to whether that was all he had to say. Shortly after, Brooke was whisked away for their boat trip by Nick Marone. Eric Forrester called Donna Logan Forrester at the hotel to update her on Nick kissing Brooke and getting an engagement ring. Donna urged Eric to locate Ridge right now and alert him. Eric informed Ridge of Nick's impending marriage proposal and warned him that time was running out when he returned to the room. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge will rush to stop Nick, but a tragic boat ride will cause things to go in unexpected directions. Ridge sees Brooke stumble as Hope and Liam's memories come flooding back. According to Tuesday, August 5th spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge Forrester witnesses Brooke Logan's waterfall, and Hope Logan and Liam Spencer's memories will flood back. To begin with, Nick Marone will keep up the relationship and make an effort to persuade Brooke that she would be better off without Ridge. Nick will strive to impress Brooke and create a romantic atmosphere during this boat excursion because he is preparing for a marriage proposal. However, Nick recently received his troublesome boat back, which is the first of several reasons why things will go awry. It's likely that the yacht isn't as fixed as Nick has been told because it has been experiencing problems. Furthermore, when Nick spots Ridge in the distance, safety won't exactly be his top concern. Nick will accelerate away and make some fast turns as Ridge begins shouting out to Brooke from the docks. When Brooke tumbles into the sea with a loud splash after falling over the rear of the boat, the journey will take a disastrous turn. Ridge will be shocked by that and quickly go into rescue mode. Hope will care for Liam at the Spencer estate back in Los Angeles, where memories will flood her mind. Now that both Liam and Hope are aware that he will survive, it may rekindle past emotions and leave them wondering what might have happened. Next, John Finnegan will accuse Grace Buckingham in Tuesday's B&B episode. Finn will put Grace in a difficult situation after he has shared all of his suspicions and the evidence he has obtained. Grace hoped to get away with fabricating Liam's brain tumor and the miracle worth millions of dollars that Bill Spencer had paid for. But since Finn won't let this go, it will soon become clear that the jig is up. Naturally, Grace will experience a surge of panic when Finn presses her for the complete truth. By the middle of the week, Grace will confess when Finn accuses her of being a scammer. In the upcoming episodes, Finn will receive updates on Grace's side of the story, as she is about to reveal some unsettling information. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Grace will need to explain herself, but Finn won't accept her justifications. Liam declines to defend Grace's falsehoods. After all this time, Liam Spencer will finally find out the truth about his cancer diagnosis, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Finally, John Finn Finnegan has come to the conclusion that Liam's cancer story was a complex fabrication. Grace Buckingham must be honest with Liam, according to Finn. Is Liam going to keep her secret? Grace Buckingham's falsehood was believed by Liam Spencer. After Luna Nozawa killed 2 people, Liam confronted his father about his choice to release her from prison and release her to the public in Los Angeles. Liam and Bill battled so violently that after being told to leave, Liam fell and banged his head inside Bill's living room, which caused him to get lightheaded and even faint. After that, Liam went outside, but Steffi Forrester found him unconscious in the driveway. Grace began her deceit when Steffi phoned an ambulance to take him to the hospital. Finn, Liam, and Steffi were told that Liam had an incurable malignancy. Grace Buckingham uses force to get what she wants. In order to help Liam and extend his life, Grace offered him medications. But rather than feeling better, Liam felt worse. Liam didn't want to have a lower quality of life than what he already had, but Grace persisted in pressuring Finn to take his medication. When it came to promoting the drug, Grace started acting utterly irrationally. Finn prevented Liam from dying from his gunshot wound after he was shot. Following his operation, Liam was recovering nicely, so Grace recommended that they attempt an experimental procedure to preserve Liam's life. After that, Grace let Liam go and asked Bill to drive him to a different facility where he had an unapproved operation. $1 million was spent on the procedure. Will Grace Buckingham be covered by Liam Spencer? In order to keep Grace out of trouble, Finn will inform Liam that she expects them to keep this quiet. Finn might even consent to anything Liam requests. Will Liam reveal the truth, or will he cover for Grace? Liam might demand that Grace pay for her actions and refuse to keep this a secret. Will Liam demand payment from Grace for the suffering he and his family endured? Since his father was the one from whom Grace took the money, Liam might want to notify him first. But Grace shouldn't be permitted to continue working while harming another person. Maybe Liam will demand that Grace be imprisoned for her deception. Ridge is on the verge of collapse. Ridge Forrester is the type of person who wants his cake and eat it too, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. But it appears like things are going to change for him soon. That's because it's obvious that he's going to fail. In addition, his ego will be the one to strike him where it hurts the most. The end of Ridge is near. Brooke made it apparent in the most recent B&B show that she would prefer to have a future with Nick over Ridge. Naturally, the Tracta Forrester son didn't anticipate this response. Ridge has been playing cat and mouse with Taylor Hayes and Brooke Logan for a very long time. And Ridge doesn't love the 2 women for that reason, because he only loves himself if he loves anyone. All he wanted to do was see who would bend first. Brooke has been informed by Ridge that he sees just Taylor and Taylor together in the future. In actuality, though, he only did this because he enjoyed seeing Brooke implore him to reconsider. Ridge was shocked by Brooke's choice to leave the situation and be with Nick, but only after she made the decision that she would no longer bow down and plead with him. What will happen with Ridge Forrester next? Ridge finds himself in a situation where he is unsure of what to do. That's because Brooke is no longer pursuing him. He has been dangling that carrot in her face, and she has given up attempting to get to it. Indeed, Ridge's games have caused Brooke and Taylor a great deal of suffering. But now that the roles have been reversed, Ridge will experience something so terrible that he might never fully recover. Dr. Grace Buckingham's shaking fingers hovered over the keyboard as the sterile white screen displayed Liam Spencer's medical chart. The made-up story of brain bleeds, deadly tumors, experimental surgeries, and million-dollar miracles. The hospital is a dark place where secrets suffocate beneath fluorescent lights and false diagnoses. Her breath came in short gasps as she hit delete, once and for all, wiping down the whole fake story she had painstakingly crafted for the Spencer heir, whose weakness had become her perverse survival mechanism. Grace was removing evidence of a perfectly crafted illusion, of lies sold to Bill Spencer for 7 figures, of medication pushed onto Liam that only made his problems worse, and of a reputation hanging by a thread as each digital line disappeared. Paris Buckingham's voice soothed her shattered spirit as her cell buzzed. "Mom," the optimistic voice inquired. Grace straightened her back, knowing full well that Paris's charity work would never survive the PR damage if this blew public, and that Zoe's modeling career was only one scandal away from collapsing. Grace vowed. "There's nothing I wouldn't do for you and your sister," in a quiet but smoldering voice. She had an unexpected outburst when a nurse tried to check in with her in the corridor. "Are you okay?" After snapping, Grace recoiled in shame and muttered an apology as the nurse hurried away. However, there was only time to hide evidence and strengthen lies, not time for regret. John Finnegan was standing over Liam in the Spencer estate across town, checking his vital signs and the bruises from a previous fight. With his brows knitted, Finn said cautiously, "This surgery. Grace hasn't given you a recovery plan, and there are no notes about post-op therapy." Liam, who was already plagued by hallucinatory recollections of his experience, was only able to nod numbly. Finn's suspicions were confirmed when Bill Spencer, with his ever-present storm cloud of guilt, entered and confessed that he had given Grace $1 million for an off-the-books treatment. "Did you pay for this?" Finn said, his jaw clenched as he made the connections between the crimes of Reese Buckingham, which included baby switches, illicit transactions, and staged murders. These transgressions tarnished Grace's last name with disgrace that was passed down through generations. With growing rage, Finn mumbled under his breath, the apple didn't fall far. He hurried back to the hospital and used his laptop to access Liam's information. Nothing. Completely blank. The MRI pictures, the logs of the diagnostic, the notes from the surgery. Lost. With his heart pounding, Finn exclaimed out loud. She scrubbed everything. The planned purge was a siren, not merely a warning sign. Grace was startled out of her chair by his thunderclap as he strode to her office. Finn stated calmly, "I was just with Liam," with mistrust in every word. "He is posing inquiries, and I am too." Grace tensed. "Dr. Finnegan, what do you mean?" she asked, attempting to maintain her position. But pretense didn't appeal to Finn. "You misrepresented his tumor. His records were erased by you. For a swindle, Bill gave you $1 million. So let me ask you this. What are you hiding?" Grace's eyes filled with fear rather than remorse. "You don't realize what they can do," she said in a cryptic voice, her hands trembling. "Who?" Finn persisted, but Grace said nothing since she was torn between worrying about her girls and her own profession. Meanwhile, a new kind of storm was brewing in Italy. On Nick Marone's yacht, Brooke Logan was beaming, their flirting turning into something frighteningly real. As Nick prepared to pop the question by slipping a velvet ring box into his pocket, Brooke's thoughts drifted to Ridge, his conceit, his uncertainty, his incapacity to love without restraint. However, Ridge Forrester emerged on the dock, exhausted from running, yelling her name just as Nick was leaning in to seal their doom. "Brooke!" he yelled while waving his arms. Unsteady and careless, Nick pressed the accelerator. The boat gave a lurch. Brooke faltered. A loud, awful, and final splash. She disappeared into the ocean. The Italian breeze ripped through Ridge's scream. Brooke, the woman he had always believed would wait for him forever, was in danger of being swallowed by his games, ego, and manipulation at that precise moment. "Nick has an engagement ring," Eric Forrester said, echoing in Nick's mind as he hastily turned the boat around and Ridge was ready to jump in. Brooke had finished waiting, But Ridge had stopped considering rings. Rescue was on his mind. Hope Logan was sitting next to Liam in Los Angeles, running her fingers over his temple as memories of their wedding, their daughter, and the love that had bound them together came flooding back. "I recall," Liam muttered. "The promises." Hope blinked back tears as she saw your smile. "And I remember who you used to be before all this." Their link became stronger as their memories grew stronger. But before feelings could erupt, Finn rushed through the door. With urgency, he said, "Liam, Grace told a fib. There was never a tumor in you. The scans were phony. The drug, the operation, it was all a deception." She erased everything. Liam shook. "What?" "However, the discomfort, lightheadedness, and you struck your head during the altercation with your father. You fainted in the parking lot. That was the beginning of it." Grace capitalized on the wound. Liam was filled with anger, betrayal, and incredulity. "She made you feel like you were dying." "She took advantage of me," he muttered, "and stole my father's money." Finn gave a somber nod. Liam clenched his hands and said, "She expects us to stay quiet, to protect her." "I won't. My dad should be informed. Furthermore, Grace is not allowed to harm anyone else in this way." Still clinging to Paris's voice like a lifeline, Grace paced the hospital while gazing at her phone. "Are you okay, Mama?" Paris inquired once more. "You seem afraid." Grace dabbed at a tear. "Yes, I am. But I'll make this right. I swear. I'll keep us all safe, regardless of the cost." However, she was aware that her lies were being exposed as she spoke. Finn was assembling evidence. Liam was getting ready to reveal her. The real puppet master behind this incident, the person Grace told not to get in touch with her again, was already plotting their next move in the background. One thing became clear as the storm clouds gathered over the Forrester, Spencer, and Logan legacies. No secret remains hidden forever in Los Angeles, not even when a doctor destroys the evidence, not even when $1 million lie is told, and especially not when love, loyalty, and retribution are at stake. This time, not even Grace, Buckingham's daughters, could save her from her impending doom. Ridge Forrester, meantime, would plunge into the Mediterranean to pursue the lady who had finally given up on him. Just as Liam Spencer's recovery was more than just survival, Brooke Logan's fall into the sea was a turning moment that marked the beginning of his reckoning. And the waves of truth would slam into every nook and cranny of B&B's sparkling, broken world in the days ahead. Is it time to let go and give Brooke Ridge for good? The greatest retaliation is Taylor's new man. Taylor Hayes' new companion may be the perfect way to exact revenge, based on teasers for the bold and the beautiful. Is it better for Taylor to surrender Ridge Forrester to Brooke Logan permanently? Taylor has been trying to persuade herself that Ridge is committed to their engagement and won't get sidetracked. B&B enthusiasts know, however, that Taylor has some ingrained anxieties. That makes sense, of course, considering all the situations in which Ridge has gone back to Brooke and broken Taylor's heart. We can only hope that Ridge's destruction of Taylor through another Brooke reunion will be the last one. At some point, it would be beneficial if Taylor could show some self-respect and say enough is enough. Taylor should know by now that she will never be able to reconcile with Ridge. Will the impending crushing blow from Taylor serve as a warning? Will Taylor finally see that Ridge isn't worth all this despair, and that Brooke will always win their love triangle? Since Taylor is only causing more pain every time she pulls Ridge back, maybe she should break this awful cycle. Even if Brooke and Ridge part up again in the future, Taylor needs to stay strong and prevent another deadly reunion. The best course of action for Taylor is to go on with her life and perhaps find a new, handsome partner who treats her decently. Taylor needs a partner who is fully dedicated to her and doesn't see her as a backup plan or a rebound. We'll see if Taylor can locate a good guy any place after all of the anguish that is about to happen at Ridge. Taylor's greatest option for retaliation could be to ignore Ridge entirely and live her life with a new man on her arm, unless their kids are in crisis mode. Even if Ridge decides to make a quick decision because of one of Brooke's many mistakes and ultimately wants Taylor back, he must realize that Taylor will no longer be waiting in the wings. Taylor's romantic life is expected to undergo some difficult changes, but maybe this Ridge split will end up being good for her, based on previews for The Bold and the Beautiful. Taylor's emotional breakdown and Bill's angry reaction. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Eric warns Ridge about Nick on Monday, August 4th. Eric Forrester is warning Ridge Forrester about Nick Marone's intentions with that ring and letting him know that he is certain that Nick will propose to Brooke Logan. And Ridge needs to take action, In order to convince Brooke to get in touch with him again before it's too late, Eric suggests that Ridge move swiftly. This week, of course, there will be more obvious signs that her life is in danger. It will, of course, be because Brad Bell has never written anything out of the ordinary. As Finn looks into Liam Spencer's case more, he finds evidence that confirms his suspicions about her potential participation. Finn will then approach Grace Buckingham. Naturally, although it doesn't seem likely, I would want to see him do another scan on Liam. I'm not sure if the notes or the scans have such information. He'll find out what Grace did, anyway. She also seems to genuinely think that her problems are over before Finn comes looking for her. Grace is receiving a phone call from someone who needs money. Part of the reason she committed this multi-million-dollar swindle was this. She pleads with them, "Never again bother me, or my daughters." I wonder whether her insane ex-husband, Dr. Reese Buckingham, who steals kids, is to blame for this. Sheila Carter continues to accuse Lee Finnegan of lying to her about Luna Nozawa on this week's episode of Bold and the Beautiful, and she starts looking into the matter. On Tuesday, August 5th, Finn accuses Grace in Bold and the Beautiful. Tense drama with Nick, Brooke, and Ridge. Because he accuses her of lying about Liam's illness, the brain tumor, and other things, Finn could think he has the evidence. It will become really messy. Grace was shocked to learn that she had been found. Nick is getting ready to drop the question to Brooke as they are on his yacht. Nick and Brooke are getting on the boat. Nick is bringing Brooke somewhere to pop the question. In one clip in Tuesday's show, she seems to be riding on the boat's dangerous transom, despite the fact that they are going to have lunch. The back smooth part is comparable to having a motor up below a boat instead of the outboard motor behind it. If you don't own a boat. Anyway, you shouldn't really go back there without a life jacket, and Nick's boat has been having steering problems.